Welcome to the Loyalty Program Builders podcast, where together with the top industry experts, we discuss business and technical challenges of implementing and running loyalty programs. Loyalty programs are complex. That's why together with our guests, we make difficult processes easy to understand and provide actionable steps to reach your loyalty program goals. Subscribe to our newsletter and become a part of a community dedicated to loyalty program excellence. Hey everyone! Today we're diving into how business managers should understand and approach customer loyalty. The goal of this episode is to provide insights into loyalty elements that engage consumers and drive results. Our guest for today is Emily Ong, a business and product loyalty leader with over 2 decades of experience in customer-facing businesses. She has not only started her own private intimate accessories label, but has also managed a chain of cafes, built up a confectionery brand, expanded a tourism entertainment concept into new markets, and implemented loyalty and reward strategies in both the public and the private sectors, spanning national, regional, and global scales. So without further ado, here's Emily. Hello, Emily. Great to have you on the show.
Hi, Irek.
Today we are going to talk about loyalty, of course, but from a perspective of a business manager. So I can't wait to hear your point of view on that.
Yes, I am very excited to share what I have experienced in my own 2 decades, both as a business manager and then in the loyalty space. But basically everything about the end customer.
Brilliant. I think that this perspective of a business manager is especially important for us. Very often we would focus on a perspective of a loyalty program manager, but I think that this business perspective is like the key perspective at this very moment. So let's just start with this first basic questions. How should business managers think about customer loyalty?
Okay, so I think because you are a business manager, firstly, you need to clearly understand the solution you offer to solve your customer's need or problem. That's why you're even in business, right? Because you have a product that you want to solve someone's need for. So you would think about the business goals, your business objectives, but most importantly, have you ever thought about who your customer is? So I think before you even start your business, you must always define your target audience, your customer audience, and in fact, break it down into the different kind of personas. Understand fully what that customer need is and, what you're trying to solve. So basically, when you have that, then you would think about how you put forth the right messaging and present the right product to address those needs. And then you will acquire the customer naturally, okay? And of course, when you first do your first transaction, you will definitely appreciate conducting repeated business with this same customer. After all, you've already put in so much thought, right, into getting his or her attention and finally converted him or her. So, I'm interchangeably using him or her, so, it's just the same customer, okay? And I think what customer loyalty is that continued interactions. It may or may not be transaction-based, but basically, as long as the customer is willing to engage with you, preferably with a transaction, right? Then these are actually signs that the customer is interested in continuing business with you. And that to me is customer loyalty. So of course, along the way, there will be distractions. There will be direct competition, somebody else offering similar product. There is also indirect competition. Indirect meaning it may be a different product, but it has taken away the attention of that customer. But after some time, maybe let's say 6 months down the road, even up to a year, hopefully within 6 months at least, then if the customer comes back to interact, there is some form of stickiness. To me, that is already some sort of customer loyalty as well, because he or she remembers you and wants to come back to interact with you. So within a reasonable period of time, there is customer loyalty. And for business managers, right, we do need to consider the cost in maintaining that relationship. Okay, very often that comes to the ROI conversation. What you put in, do you get enough back in return? But as a running a business, oftentimes you're stuck in that state of mind. And then you forget that likewise, the customer will also consider the same. The customer will be thinking similarly, the cost to transact with you, do I get back a good enough experience, a good enough satisfaction? So it's also the ROI for the customer. So I think you need to consider the good balance between both parties. It's really a two-way traffic. So I think in terms of we want our customers to be loyal to us, our product, then we also need to reciprocate and show them the same loyalty that we're willing to invest into improving that product, improving the experience we can offer the customer. So with that, then there'll be constant loyalty between two of us. Yep.
Okay, thank you. So now I'm thinking about the program and I need to ask this question, like, does loyalty need to be a program?
Okay, so how do you define what is a program? Maybe I ask you that first.
Sure. So at first, when we launched the podcast, like a loyalty program was a sort of like a really big investment. So it sometimes would even look as a company within a company, where you would build a loyalty program with like a team of loyalty experts, data analysts. You would basically, it was like a huge and costly initiative. But then, when we just like realized very often, like people would like to implement certain loyalty mechanics or basically just like, think about customer lifetime without a program per se. So this is the kind of, I was wondering, what is your approach towards that? Does it need to be this sort of like a heavy organized program initiative? Or can you think about loyalty basically from a business perspective and maybe just, a few mechanics that you would add to whatever you're doing at this moment?
Strongly agree with whatever you just said. To me, I'll start with the very key line you said, a business within a business. Very, very, I agree strongly with that. Okay, so basically, loyalty program, if you create a whole structure in a program, yes, it has its own P&L. So it is a business in a business. But then back to your question about, does it need to be that larger scale? Okay. So I feel that when you want to think about customer loyalty, it is just a way of thinking, a way of your, maybe your company's mission, vision. It is part of your company motto to really put the customer at the heart of it all. I'm very much for thinking, for pursuing a customer centricity kind of business goal. And with that, you will put in place some structure. Whether or not you want to launch a full-scale program, I think if you think about how you want to present your product, put in place thought processes in, crafting the message, in getting maybe, let's say, the next purchase. How do I get the customer to come back and interact with us again? I think these are really mechanics that are more important rather than the actual program itself, like, launching an entire full-scale rewards catalog and stuff like that. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. So you've mentioned rewards, and this is very often like connected. So very often you would like think about the program, like about loyalty from the point of view of rewards. So, what could we offer to our customers apart from the regular business so that they stick, that they, come back for more, are with us for longer. So is a loyalty program about giving rewards?
Okay, I think this is a question a lot of people will actually say yes, but I will say not always. Okay, so I've seen multiple businesses launch a rewards program. They give away freebies. They maybe like a gift with purchase. This or even like I shared earlier, a whole rewards catalog. You collect some points and use your points to redeem for some rewards. They think that they've got a loyalty program in place when you've got a rewards program. But to me, they just started off with the right intentions, but it could be the wrong strategy. Okay, having rewards to engage your customers is not wrong, but it is not really a full loyalty program. Okay, so to me, like I shared earlier, a loyalty program is a structured loyalty strategy that you would have put in place to build and to maintain long-term engaging relationships with your customers. Whether it's a B2B or B2C scenario, both ways you should adopt the same thought process. Okay. So basically, you would have possibly a foundation of data, whether it's zero or first party, maybe it's obtained outside second or third party, right? Or market research. This kind of data is there, and you must have studied about that, understand your customers. That's how you even invented your business, right? Your product. And then you think about how you want to convey the story and ask the customers to return for more. Along the way, you would send them nudges. You would try to reach out to them. And then you pitch. And then your pitch could then be sweetened with the incentives. So now all these are going to be part of the loyalty program. But remember, it's not just about giving rewards. So incentives can be hard or soft benefits, right? So I think hard benefits are what we all are used to. Things like discounts, cashback, free shipping. Those are rewards program. The very tangible stuff, okay? Then on the other hand, the soft benefits are things like exclusive experiences, first dips to, new product launches, early access to events, even something a bit less tangible, status, a sense of community, and if you are in a retail business, personalized recommendations. So all these goes to show you that loyalty program isn't just about giving tangible rewards, all right? If that's the case, actually, you would then consider your business running this program as a cost item. And I feel that loyalty programs is not just a cost item. It is, in fact, a revenue driver. So that is definitely more than just another cost line item.
Okay. That's a great example. Thank you. Do you have any brands in mind that are really, savvy when it comes to giving away something more than rewards, or maybe like not using rewards per se, but actually, using those incentives that you that you've mentioned?
I would, off the top of my head, right, I would think of Nike. Nike, the fitness brand, right? So they have this community, and that community that they have built online is actually a great loyalty program. I don't really think that they are giving away points and things for you to redeem and stuff, but yet people keep coming back. Why? Because they are engaged in the community. They have built a loyalty program in a very different way from most other brands like Starbucks and, even McDonald's, right? They're just giving points, you collect your stars, then you redeem for stuff. That's not wrong, that's fine. I'm just saying that if you want me to share the view of how I find that a loyalty program can be structured and away from thinking about just giving rewards, Nike is a good example.
Nice. I really love it. Especially, community is quite close to my heart at this moment. So if like the whole idea of organizing a community and that serving the purpose, almost of like a loyalty program.
Yes.
That's cool. That's so cool.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, because you're part of the community, actually you keep coming back to Nike. In fact, you become a strong advocate. I have friends who, post their photos of them in Nike gear doing their daily runs. And they're just saying, just do it, just do it. Yeah, I mean, they are the strong advocate. What more can you ask for as a brand?
Sure. Okay. Would you give any sort of like, tips or maybe some ideas that you have collected over the years of like, how to start? I was about to ask you about certain loyalty mechanics, but now I'm thinking maybe this phrase is not right even. I was thinking about like what loyalty initiatives are good for start.
Okay. Loyalty initiatives. I think the first thought is always how can you get the customer to come back? So with that, if you're in the retail business, if you're in the F&B business, or something along those lines where, customers need to, they will come back more than once, right? A very, very simple starting point that probably has existed through time is the idea of a stamp card. Okay, so something very simple. If you're not if you're a very mom and pop store, very simple business, you could start that. If you are a digital setup, you could do a digital stamp card. You can even do it nowadays with messaging apps. right? So these are all the idea. It does not need to be a physical card. It can also just be the idea that, hey, come back once, you collect something, come back a second time, and then maybe 3 times you get something else. So these are a great, that's a great way to start thinking about how I want to get a customer to come back the next time. All right. So I think that's a great way to start. And that's a first initiative I would think about. And then I will also say that planning out how you're going to communicate with the customer is another thing. That's why loyalty is actually a very crucial component of CRM. So CRM, customer relationship management, right? So you need to think about how you want to communicate, how often you're going to communicate. And every touch point is a very key moment, because if the customer is going to even open that message that you send, don't waste it. Try to get a conversion. If you're not planning it right, that customer may choose to end all conversations with you.
Okay. So it's like making sure that whenever somebody engages, you also respond. Okay, cool. Thank you. Yeah, you're absolutely right that very often, it depends on the focus, and very often communication is obviously like one of the areas that we try to control in a way, or like manage, but it doesn't always come first. So yeah, thank you. If we come back to loyalty, is loyalty a marketing expense?
Okay. A lot of companies I've seen, not just in the ones that I've been in, but, just when I speak with the network that I have and all, a lot of them have the loyalty team seated under marketing. So therefore, they park the cost of running the loyalty program and the marketing expense. So I think that has been quite traditional, and that's really maybe because the owners and the stakeholders feel that loyalty program or rewards program, these cost money, and it's a way to market the brand to the customer. Okay. But to me, that is really so if you are really running a rewards program, because there's a lot of cost in those discounts, in the rebates, in the freebies. You need to park it somewhere. So very often times you run promotions. So these are similar. So they view loyalty program as running a promotion. Okay. So therefore, a lot of times these companies would park it under a marketing expense. Personally, over time, I prefer to define it differently. In fact, right now, I've changed the way I think about it. I would prefer to define the business product, your loyalty strategy to engage that customer, and then set aside a dedicated loyalty program budget instead. Okay, so it should have its own P&L. Remember, you also started off saying that it's a business within a business. So I really view running a loyalty program, let's say, especially those that's fully structured, right? The large scale ones, it is as good as running a business itself. Those that manage a points inventory, a rewards inventory, the promotions associated, the cost in sending out notifications and all that, there's a cost to running that program itself. So therefore, there is a P&L on it. So instead, this time, if you are running a loyalty program, you need to instead start marketing that loyalty program. So there is a cost to market that loyalty program, that loyalty reward, that loyalty point. It's a new product altogether, right? It's not that your business product alone, but you have the loyalty program as your subsidiary product. Okay, so I urge you to actually think about marketing being parked under this loyalty product instead, rather than the product being parked under marketing. That is how I'm thinking these days. And when I chat with a few people, they're, quite in alignment with me. But I think this is kind of a new thought process. It's something that I thought about. But what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it's just definitely something I would love to research further. And it depends on the big scale programs probably could totally be structured like this, and the kind of relationship between the loyalty initiative and marketing might change. So I don't know, my intuition tells me that perhaps you could start running loyalty initiatives within marketing. But then as things progress and let's say as the organization and the project itself matures, perhaps it's a good idea to have it as a sort of like a separate entity, but meaningfully connected, obviously. So but still, like I would love to research that. So actually, thank you for bringing that up, because that might be a cool segue for us actually to like explore it maybe with a few podcast episodes.
Yes, I'd love to be involved in that, because I think it's a new thing that I'm excited about. And if you are in a company that subscribes to the older way of thinking, then I'm sure you got a lot of wars to fight.
Oh yeah, I mean, we have talked previously about collaboration between departments, about like communicating with stakeholders, and so it was actually related. But do you have any insights on how managing or management of the program changes depending on the place in the company's structure?
Yes, definitely.
If you could share this a bit, maybe like which or like which way of managing a program is better, like because now you've mentioned that it doesn't need to be a part of marketing.
Mm-hmm.
So what is your take on that? Like how to manage the loyalty program in the most efficient and effective way?
Okay, I think with the companies that I've been in myself, it has experienced both. I have experienced both, where it is really under marketing versus another one where the whole loyalty program is seen as its own business. And my take is the latter is going to be easier to manage, because when you see the loyalty program as so-called an entity by itself, it means the rest of the stakeholders are aligned that that is a key driver of the business. Okay. Budget for that program may come from the other departments. And if they are all in alignment that that is a key component, there is no argument for taking some budget from one department, Department A, Department B, contribute into, the points liability, funding the rewards and stuff like that. However, if it is a pure marketing cost line item, then it will be like, oh, points liability, we need to increase breakage, we need to save some costs. Where will you cut? It's very easy to cut budget from marketing. And within marketing, there will also be its own wars, right? You have to spend on paid performance marketing, you got to spend on CRM, communication costs. That's not cheap these days, right? SMS, WhatsApp, all that, they cost quite a bit. YouTube ads. All these all go under marketing, and then you'll be fighting which marketing budget to cut. And what will you cut? You will start cutting your points, you start cutting your rewards, and therefore that's how a lot of them start to decay with time. The points value depreciates. That's very common, right? We've seen that in many apps or programs. Rewards suddenly become less attractive. That's how the program decays. So I personally view that really, if you think of it as a program that is at the heart of the company, where everybody is aligned and they understand why some expense is going that way, I think it is there to stay.
Wow. Okay. That's very insightful. Thank you so much. Because now it just makes sense. You brought more clarity, at least to my mind, because now, if everyone contributes with the budget, they probably make sure that everything is well communicated, understood, and you can actually align through allocating the budget. But whenever it's only in marketing, you're absolutely right, that then when it comes to any budget cuts, it's going to be within marketing, right? And then you need to have all those difficult decisions and tough choices, but it's only within one department.
Exactly. But that's my personal experience, and I would just say that it probably differs from company to company, your product that you do. So I won't say it will work for all. Of course, no, one solution doesn't solve everyone.
Another interesting point, or maybe interesting area of loyalty programs or loyalty is data. Very often you would even be okay with the costs as long as you have the influx of informative and meaningful information, right? So what about customer data, and where do we start, in your opinion?
Customer data is actually a very key component to even start a loyalty program. Okay. Now we start off by saying that we collect so much data these days. Okay. We may unwittingly collect them and we don't know what to do about them, right? So I think the problem these days is how we even understand it, how we match the data, especially if you are running several platforms. There is data at every touch point. And then you need a good team to, bring that together, study that, and correlate that to the customer. Okay. So speaking from my own experience, right, data will get really complex, especially if you think about it, your same one customer. Okay. So let's say it's Iraq, right? Iraq, you are an offline customer. You are an online customer. At the same time, I'm a business that has maybe 5 different brands. You are shopping at maybe 3 or 4 of my brands. And not only that, I may have businesses across borders. So you may be flying to, different parts of the world and you're still interacting with me. Now I have all that data about you, Iraq, but I can't see that. Okay, I think that is a common problem. Yeah. So you can see it gets very complicated across multiple layers. So, and now imagine you are the customer. You are really loyal to me, actually. Okay, you are maintaining your part of that business relationship with me really well because you keep coming back. But for me as the business owner, I am not playing my role well. I am actually causing the relationship imbalance because I'm not giving you the same experience that you should be experiencing across the board. So who is at fault? It's not that you are not loyal, right? It's maybe me and my business that don't know how to handle the information. So that's why I say data is really important, and knowing how to understand the data is very key. So nowadays, I would say that where you can, try to start building that single view of the customer. It's not easy, especially if you've been running business for a while. You would probably have legacy systems, right? So it's definitely not an easy process, but you need to start, okay? Because while whatever I just described to you is already complex, it's only going to get more complex. Why? Because you will have social media data, you will have new messaging apps, you will have new payment methods. There's a lot of ways. It's just going to get more and more complex, more sliced up. Yeah. So I think a key thing is to really get experienced data people to manage that, okay? Build a foundation, and then get great analysts. Okay, I won't even go to the level of data scientists. That's for really big companies, right? I mean, average businesses, we could engage analysts to help us understand and put together, useful dashboards. Get a consultant to help you with that. Yeah. So, and of course, when you build a dashboard, make sure it's something that can be understood. Sometimes, you have to build a dashboard in a way that it can be used. So oftentimes somebody builds the dashboard, but the actual people that are supposed to understand the data don't know how to read it. Then really what's the point, right? Yeah, you got to make the data useful. Otherwise, nobody will utilize it. So when you can understand it, definitely you can identify the pattern, the trends that has happened. Even make predictions about what's going to happen in the next half a year or something like that. And then I think still important is the zero to first party data. Get input for your customers. Make it really meaningful. And like I always talk about it, right? Like, if you fail to plan, you're actually planning to fail. Yeah. But I would say, even though I know data is very important because it's going to help you make decisions. Because if you don't have data to back your decisions, basically you're just going by gut feel. You're going to maybe copy the competition, then you're not anything different, right? Or you're just going to pull out ideas from the sky. So I think data is there to back your decisions up, get the support of your stakeholders, of your C-suite. So it's still important how you manipulate the data. But more important is really how you eventually execute your plan and communicate with the customer. So basically, data is really historical. So don't be engrossed in it that you forget about seeing the now, because customer needs change all the time. The market conditions change all the time. So yes, data is just there to back it up, but it can only tell a story of the past. It's not going to tell you the story of what's going to happen like tomorrow. Yeah. So I think you just got to truly understand what your customer needs right here, right now.
This is so cool. I've never heard it phrased be like this before, but it totally makes sense that the data you have, it just tells you the story of the past. And then like predicting what's going to happen in the future is definitely difficult because everything changes so fast.
Yeah. I mean, you've got AI and all, but then again, it's really built on a past story, right? It's not wrong. It's just going to help. It's not going to be very accurate though. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Thank you. So if we could sum it up in a way, but in a sort of like an actionable way, because you said about those aspects of loyalty, or maybe let's go back to the goal. So the goal was actually to discuss how business managers should think about loyalty. So if we could boil it down to some like most important areas that you should focus on, what would these be?
I think thinking about loyalty is really about understanding the customer first. So putting the customer at the heart of it all is the first thing you think about loyalty. Okay. It is not about creating a program right away. That is just like a tool. Maybe I would say maybe a way you want to interact more tangibly with the customer. But really about loyalty is about the way you structure your thinking. It's more of a strategy than actually a real program product.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. And when it comes to execution, because you said about rewards and actually thinking about what could you do in order to maintain or develop this relationship with customer? And then you also said about data. So if we go through from the strategy towards execution part, what would you put how would you grade the priorities?
Grading the priorities is really difficult. I can't grade them, really. They are all important. It's really important. And I would say that you probably need to define all together before you even start.
Okay. So just to sum up, just to make sure that our audience, is on the same page with us. So we don't allocate, we don't attach any priorities at this point, but what areas should we focus on?
Like I say again, it's really understand the customer, like talk to them. In fact, if you are running a business, get down and dirty, be there so that you really truly understand whether you are solving the customer's needs. Yeah. And think about how they want to interact with you. Remember, sometimes it's really a two-way traffic, right? So, I think one of the things to really start with would also be understanding the data. So like the example I just gave, getting down and dirty, being there is actually collecting data yourself, experiencing it for yourself. But of course, if you got a big team, you get someone to do it for you.
Sure, exactly. Thank you. You have opened up so many interesting alleys for me because, definitely when you've mentioned that, how or where does loyalty belong in the organization, for example. This is cool, and I wish it would be a great idea to explore this further. Then when you said about data and the importance of creating this single view of a customer and actually, not only collecting data, but actually integrating data and making sure that it's understandable for everyone included. This is a challenge. So I think that it would be a great adventure to explore this further. So yeah, thank you so much for bringing us all these valuable insights. Is there anything else you would like to share with the audience before we wrap up?
No, actually, but I'm always happy to speak with anyone who might be interested, discuss with me how they feel about what I've shared today. maybe the conversation about marketing versus product expense would be something interesting, or maybe something that people actually resonate with. Yeah, then feel free to hit me up on LinkedIn.
Cool. Thank you so much for joining us. And see you soon, I hope.
All right. Thanks for arranging this.
Great. I love the idea that loyalty is the way you structure your thinking, that it's more of a strategy than actually a program product. Now, let's wrap up with a few action items. First, if you like this episode, help us grow by leaving a positive review of the podcast. Second, let us know what you think by interacting with the Q&A feature, or simply send us an email at podcast@openloyalty.io. Third, be sure to subscribe to our newsletter for more valuable content related to the podcast. Have a great day, everyone. The Loyalty Program Builders podcast is brought to you by the team at Open Loyalty, the world's most flexible loyalty software for creating personalized loyalty and gamification programs fast and at scale.